Hey guys, so I wanted to go over a couple things I keep in my bag that might be a good idea for your own packing list, and just generally things that are good ideas to keep in your bag or with your bike or however you like to carry your equipment. So without further ado, we'll break into it. First thing I never leave the house without: standalone GPS of some form. While smartphones these days have a bunch of different applications, GPS tracking, route marking, and all that, and can do all the same things as this, their Achilles heel: reception. And we all know we can get way out in the boonies with our adventure bikes, so it's always a good idea to keep a standalone GPS, even if it's only just to get you back to the road or back home. So, first thing I keep with me. The next thing I keep with me is my main riding bag. This is a Climb Knack Pack. It's about 25 liters in capacity, maybe a little less. It's basically what I use to carry all my essentials. I never leave the house without it, pavement or dirt otherwise. So, we'll get started. In the top main compartment, we have, first and foremost, I have my GoPro Hero 7 for recording and all that stuff. Not really a necessary item, but definitely a lot more fun to have one of these. You can catch moments, hill climbs, things like that. Definitely a great thing to have with you. Next up, I like to keep with me a couple of mounts for the GoPro in here, but I keep a charging cord specifically for my headset that I keep. I have a Sena 20S. Great for communicating, take phone calls, anything you need to with that. I also have a SD card reader and a couple other things for the GoPro in here. Now, moving along from here, we have what I keep in what is basically the admin pouch here. So this is the frontal pouch. So we'll undo the zippers here. First thing, a writing utensil. Something people don't often think about. Maybe you need to mark something on your bike. Maybe you need to write something down. Maybe you need to leave a note. I always like just having a Sharpie. It writes on anything, so it's a good option to have. Next up, I've got spare batteries for the GoPro. I carry 3 additional batteries. Hero 7 does like to eat batteries. You can only get about 30 to 45 minutes worth of footage out of a battery before you need to replace it. So I do carry 3 spare batteries and a way to charge them on the bike, so in case I don't stop in a hotel. There's my charger for them. I just plug both batteries in here and then plug that black cord you saw into my bike, and it charges the batteries with the key on. Next up, another thing most people don't think of: backup power source for your phone. So this is a mobile battery pack. It has a built-in flashlight as well. So if you hold the button, get an additional flashlight. Really nice to have if you're on the trail. But yeah, 4,000 milliamps, so it'll charge my phone twice over. So in an emergency, I do have a way to charge my phone if the bike doesn't run and I'm stranded. Great for emergency services and to get help. So that's everything in the admin pouch. I try and keep things nice and light. The other pouch we're going to go into here is the tool pouch. Climb's got a really nice tool pouch for these bags. It just builds into this big beaver tail in here, and then you've got your tool pouch with all your tools in it, your wrenches, your tire spoons, anything like that. So this is my tool pouch. It folds out nice and neat. I do carry a lot of different tools. I keep a Leatherman for a set of pliers, as well as screwdrivers and bits, recovery magnet for, say, little bolts that fall down in there, full set of wrenches that I need. These are gear wrenches, so they have a ratcheting rear end. I keep a spanner for my rear wheel and front wheel and an extender. I also keep a siphoning hose kit. This is something a lot of people don't think about, but if you're stranded and somebody comes along that may have fuel, maybe you're out of fuel, you can siphon from them. Or alternatively, you can save a stranded rider by giving them some of your gas. Some Allen keys, suspension adjustment, zip ties, or zap straps as some people call them. One thing that a lot of people should consider carrying is this. This is, well, you can't see by the label, this is a metal putty. So this is the same guys that make JB Weld make a metallic stick. This is a putty, you knead it with your hands, and it forms a solid metal contact. So you can repair brake levers, you can repair clutch levers, you can repair small holes in your engine. If you accidentally case your engine, you can sometimes repair it with this. I have done it on a KLR 650 once. Alternatively, super glue is another wonderful thing I'm very glad that I keep with me. I have used this for so many different things, and you can only imagine the applications that you can use. Overall, my toolkit's very basic. I don't use it to tear the bike down and apart. It's just for basic field repairs. If it gets bad to the point where I can't fix it, I'm probably just calling for a ride or a pickup, or I'm going to hike out. So I'll leave that aside there. And finally, we're going to go into the main compartment. These are the main things that I think everybody should keep with them. First and foremost, I got a backup GPS cradle for my phone, so that's the one for my phone. This is the cord for my pump, and this is my air pump. So it's a MicroStart inflator. It's literally tiny in comparison to my hands. In comparison to this GPS, you can see how small this pump is. It has enough pressure to set a bead. I actually did that at the Adventure Bike Gathering. I saved 2 flat tires with this thing, and it just plugs into the 12-volt pump on my bike. Next up, I have a plug and patch kit. This is for tubeless tires. I have a KTM 790, so I do run tubeless tires. However, I do have spoons in my kit to swap and put a tube in if needed. But if I can just plug and go, I will with one of these plug and patch kits. On that note, you should try and get wax plugs, not the circular rubber plugs that go in these. They're a lot nicer than wax plugs for plugging holes. They fill the hole a little nicer, and they're a little longer lasting, so you can get more life out of your tire. Next up, first aid kit. This is something a lot of people neglect to put in their bike. If you have an accident, this is something you want with you, whether it's for you or another rider. I don't keep it super stocked with a bunch of stuff, just enough for basic cuts, abrasions, and maybe a major bleed or two. There's just some basic stuff in there, some antibiotics, tweezers. There's a CPR valve if I ever needed to use it. Assorted band-aids and bandages. I do keep rolls of gauze here as well. And then I also keep a thing of Quick Clot. This is the same kind of, it's a big clotting sponge designed for major bleeds. So if there's an open wound that I got to patch, that's what I'm going to put on it and tape it down. That's more than enough for, I'd say, 90% of motorcycle applications. In addition to that, I also keep a tourniquet and a Israeli bandage in the left pocket of my riding pants, just in case somebody has a whoops and I need to get to them quickly. Another thing, duct tape. These little Gorilla Tape rolls, you can buy them at Canadian Tire. They're like $10. I've only burnt through about half this roll, and it's been 2 years, but every time I do, it's great for sticking plastics back onto bikes, wrapping hoses up, fixing electrical connections, because it is an insulated tape. So you can use this for a number of different applications. I use this all the time for little repairs here and there. And then on top of that, one thing I also keep with me, because I'm out in the bush, is a good fixed blade survival style knife. Maybe talk to local authorities before you start packing one of these in town, but I definitely keep this with me. A number of different applications. If I'm stuck out on the trail overnight, I can build shelter with it. I can cut, brush down with it. I can make fire. I can do all that stuff. I have the ability to do that with this knife. So it definitely, it's more of a last ditch tool, but it's good to have with you in case of an emergency. And then finally, inside here, I have a 3-liter hydration bladder. I opted for 3 liters, even though it's heavier, to get more water. It's always better to have more water than you think that you need if you could be stuck out on the trail, or maybe you're just riding harder than you anticipate. Nobody likes running out of water halfway through the day, and I think I've only ever drained this in one ride once, and it was like plus 30 the whole day, and it wasn't until 7 or 8 o'clock at night when I finally ran out of water. So again, lots of water is always a good idea to have with you. But overall, that's my kit. I try and keep things nice and simple. I try and use it for field repairs. I try and keep the kit small and simple. This all fits on the back of my bike. This comes with me regardless of what bike I'm riding, regardless of the terrain that I'm riding, and regardless of how far I'm riding. All these things stay with me. So I hope you liked the video. If you have some suggestions, I would definitely love to hear them. 2 suggestions I have if money were no object. Number 1, I would have some sort of rescue system, either a DeLorme InReach, Spot GPS, or an ACR Rescue Link personal locator beacon. And then on top of that, I would probably add, maybe a pack saw for trimming trees, things like that, like just an emergency saw just to get through brush and cut and things like that. I do have one, but it's really not the highest quality, so I'm looking for a new one. Hope you liked the video. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below.